You're now in rotation with LoudMindsTV. I'm your host. I'm So Ian, Boston's favorite. And I hope you're having a wonderful Friday. It's actually our last episode, so all great things must come to an end. And I've loved all the wonderful guests that I've had on my previous episodes. I also wanted to give a shout out to James in the playback office. He's hooked me up with some dates. James has been taking care of me. I gave him a little bit of a hard time because I wanted to get to the viewers out there a little bit more. So thank you, James. I appreciate all the hard work you do, and the rest of the BNN crew. So who do we have in store for you today? I'm going to let you know one at a time, but we have the Goodnights in the building. Paul Goodnight, and we have Aziza, his daughter, in here. So we see the wonderful art transform over the generations, and I've just been blessed. And I hope you enjoy my guests. So we're going to start with you. Hi, Aziza.
Hello.
Hi, Paul Goodnight.
Hey.
How you doing?
I'm fine.
Good, good.
I'm fine.
Before I continue, I just needed people to know that you've been my creative director behind my show. You've helped me get like some of my craziest guests. You've been such a supportive factor, and now you brought your own family in here to help cater to that. So thank you, Aziza, and I appreciate you. So let's talk about the Goodnight Initiative. What is the Goodnight Initiative?
The Goodnight Initiative. It's something that I created after I got out of education, and it's something that is just a testament of my life and my parents' life, and it's just us working and sharing, sharing information about the art world, the art business, and living in it. That's basically what it is.
And you do live in that art world, and you exude it, and you've gotten everybody else involved. Why are you so passionate about that, Aziza?
Because art is my life. I grew up an artist. Both my parents are artists. I taught art. I studied art. It's everything to me, and it's been my savior.
Your savior. You're right, and you shine in that field. So Paul, let's talk to you a little bit. Look at you, what you have on. Did I get you out the studio today? Were you working? Were you painting?
I dress like this all the time.
Yeah, exactly.
I dress like this every day.
And you're you. And we were talking earlier that, well, before I get there, who are you, Paul?
Who am I? I'm Paul Goodnight. I'm just an artist that does the exact same thing she does. I exude art. My passion is art, and whatever your passion is, your curiosity is. And whatever your curiosity is, it moves you forward.
He's also a world-renowned artist that has inspired lots of artists around the world.
Why is he so humble about that?
It's how he's always been.
Why are you?
Well, you asked me who I was.
Yeah.
That's who I define myself as, not as all of the other kinds of things.
Where did your passion in art start?
I think as a baby with crayons and all the other kinds of stuff, and then I really motivated by the fact that I wasn't able to talk. I wasn't able to speak. And I came back from Vietnam, and I had no way of talking, no obvious way of talking. And I figured the only way that I could possibly do that is to draw. And I always liked it. I always did it, but I never felt as though this was going to be an occupation for me or a career move for me. Because, I mean, art, for most part, black folks didn't do it. And I think it was what we called luxurious thinking. You don't think of being an artist because there is no occupation. There's no yellow pages for it, nothing. So that's why I never really thought about art as being a part of my life. And then obviously it became a voice for me.
Can you describe what type of, no, before I continue, I don't know much about art. So what type of art is this? What type of painting is this?
It's representational. It represents something. And this particular one represents jazz. And I did that for the Katrina victims. They were building arts for humanities, the habitats and that kind of stuff, and they needed logos. So I did something like 24, 25 different pieces for the jazz musicians that were displaced by the disaster and have came back, and they were going to use this as well as the 24 other pieces for to identify where the jazz musicians lived.
Would you say, is this drawn, is this painted, is it oil paint? Like,
this particularly is a pastel. Pastel is this, It's a chalk medium with pigment in color. But I love pastel because it's a dry medium. You can get it done fairly fast. And I love color.
Yeah.
So.
You've used a lot of earth tones. What has inspired that?
Earth tones?
Yeah.
I don't know.
No? You don't know?
Yeah, I have no idea. I mean, I use a lot of color.
Yeah.
And I think the blend behind those colors is earth. And what happens when you use the earth tones, you basically enhance the color. So if that be the only way that the earth tone have something to do with the other colors, the other properties, the other mediums.
When did you start teaching art?
Oh, I don't know. It's a good question.
When did you want to start teaching art?
I think I always wanted to teach art because what I've learned doesn't belong to me, doesn't belong to you. What you learn doesn't belong to you. If you don't pass it on, then it has no effect. And why would I teach somebody who's not going to pass it on? It's very selfish. So I realized from my mentor, John Biggers, who told me exactly that. If he gives me something, then it doesn't belong to me. I have to pass it on if it's valuable, if it has worth.
Thank you for sharing that. That was very powerful. What things have you passed on to your daughter?
I continue to pass on things to my daughter, and it sometimes passes right by.
That means she's your daughter then.
But there's no, your daughter is your daughter. I mean, and there's no doubt about it. Your relatives, sometimes you don't know what they absorb. Sometimes you think they're not listening, and they are. And sometimes you think they're listening, and they ain't. So, it all comes out, in the future. What she's gained. I never thought that she was that much interested in art because she never really showed that much interest as a younger person. In fact, she kind of ran from it. And then all of a sudden, she gravitated toward it.
Aziza, why is that?
Why did I run from it?
Yeah.
I think it wasn't me running from it. It was more that it was just what I was born into. And I thought, my parents thought I was going to go to school for math or science, but it didn't really challenge me enough, and art did. Really learning art and studying art was a challenge, and I enjoyed it.
What do you love about art?
Everything.
Of course you love everything.
I love how it can inspire. I love how it can heal. I love how you can express yourself in a million different ways and however you want to. I love everything about it.
Tell me a little bit about Gallery Basquiat.
Gallery Basquiat. Gallery Basquiat is a space where artists can work together to create social change.
What do you do with Gallery Basquiat?
I'm a managing partner and curator for Gallery Basquiat.
And you continue to teach, you find these nonprofit organizations. Why do you stay so close to the community?
Because the community stayed close to us, and the community was a big part of the success of our family business.
Do you have any future endeavors of your own, personal? What would you like to do in the art department?
I want my own gallery.
Yeah. I want to see what that looks like. I can't wait. We got to bring the cameras and go to that because we know you're going to have some cool events. Paul, you're a really awesome guy. Again, I have to thank you personally for, allowing me to, thank you for having a daughter. So, she's come into my world and she's taught me so much about the art. While we were talking about earlier, is that I really don't know any other black artists. So what black artists have been important to you?
Well, you just imagine the world. There's been a lot to answer the question. But imagine a world without art, without music, without dance, without movies, without performances, without the written word. Just imagine that. There would be nothing that would sustain you in that arena. Art basically is a substance. We pay crazy amount of money for art. Why? Because sometimes it sustains us. It's the substance of what we basically are. And it's not anything that's so tangible that, okay, how much we making such and such for this. It's not about that. It's about how do I sustain myself. If I didn't have any music, you can't imagine yourself without it.
I wouldn't want to live in that
You
world.
can't imagine the dance. You can't imagine without it. You can't imagine without poetry, without all the other kinds of things that are entertaining. But there's somebody that is a creative force that puts that together. So art for me, the people who came before me have instilled that to me. They said, you're an image maker. I never understood what image maker meant. But you are an image maker.
Thank
and
you.
it really matters what kind of image that you are willing to make that infects a new generation.
Thank you. You dropping science all over my show today. I'm
yeah.
glad that they're live and the other people are. I hope they can feel the impact that you're giving to me. But I'm a little floored right now. What motivates you? Like, because your art has changed over the years.
Well, I mean, I have some books here. What motivates me mostly is people and experience, and whatever is that has some substance to it. I just came back from Sierra Leone in September, and I was there with the people who were victims of the war in Sierra Leone. The war has not been over that long. In fact, we're still in post-war. They're still in post-war situation, and I spend time at the amputee camp. Talking to the people who have lost their arms, their legs, their nose, their ears, and that kind of stuff, and asked them to tell their stories. They couldn't tell their stories verbally, but they could tell it through art. It was another means of their expressions. And what I then did, take their works, and I'm going to do a huge collage, a huge painting of these people's work. The piece that I do will go then to New Jersey. It will be auctioned off. The money that's raised from the auction will bring 3 or 4 young people to the United States to give them an education. It has a visceral relationship to the overall problems that we see in the world today if we use it right.
Who taught you that? Who taught you all of this? Who taught you to care that much, to step outside your environments? Like, that's amazing.
You did. People like you, people like everyday other people. There's no one teacher if we're open. You know, you really, really want to hear the heart and soul of what it is, the pulse of what's going on now. I mean, look, the disaster that they had the other day.
In Connecticut.
A week, yeah. First people who band together to really raise money for the outside of the Red Cross was the musicians. And musicians raise all kinds of money. That's substance. That's something that will sustain them. Of course, that doesn't solve the problem, but it helps cure. And that's what we really try to do. And not only trying to help cure the problem, we help cure ourselves. You know, because if I didn't do this, I don't know where I would be. I mean, like I say, I couldn't speak when I came back from Vietnam. This was my outlet. This was my voice.
And you've done a beautiful job, Paul.
Thank you, sir.
It's lasted through the generations. Thank you. I should have gotten a little bit of how long you've acted. When was your first painting? Do you know that?
Yeah, it's kindergarten.
Kindergarten. I'm glad we got that on tape. Okay, what was the piece that you were like, whoa, okay, I'm doing something? When did that happen for you?
The piece that I liked, or the piece that I'm not sure of the question.
That's actually even a better question right there. But when people appreciated you, when did the world start to recognize Paul Goodnight?
That's a question that I'm sort of almost devoid of. But to answer it, there was, I think, the Links and Lineage was one of the pieces that got recognition from TV shows and so forth and so on. I think the TVs, the movies, the media has done a lot to help recognize the images of themselves, Cosby and all the other ones. But they were background. You know, they were backdrops.
I like my backdrop.
It's for sale.
For sale. Oh, we're running out of time. Do you have any events coming up?
Yes, we do. We're actually having a holiday family event tomorrow and Sunday.
Which is the dates?
What dates are those?
21st and 22nd,
The time?
from 2 to 8 at 791 Tremont Street in Piano Factory.
Piano Factory. And how can the people stay in contact with you guys?
We have a website. It's colorcircleart.com or paulgoodnight.com, and they can get in touch with us through there.
Okay.
And he also has a Facebook page.
Oh, word. I always laugh when my parents are like Facebook and stuff.
I got a
like that.
Facebook page, but she answers all
She
She's
said-
really valuable to me because I think we live in one generation, she lives in another. And we don't listen to each generation. We talked about this with Amanda and a few other people. We don't listen to each other. I mean, the young generation has a lot to tell us also.
And that's what you've been doing here today, Paul, and I appreciate that. I felt like I've bridged those gaps. But we have to run to a PSA. You two have been wonderful guests.
Thank you.
And when we come back, thank you, we'll have Greg Selko in the building, the owner of Karma Loop. 5, 4, 3, 2. You're now in rotation with Loud Minds TV, and we just had Paul Goodnight and his daughter Aziza on the set, and they're wonderful people, and I'm glad what they're doing here in Boston, and that's what I do. I have to find these cool people, these individuals, these organizations, and I'm skeptical, and I have to figure it out, and then when I see what they can create and manifest, it's just awesome, and I have to bring them to you. And with that said, I have Greg Selko sitting right next to me. Greg.
Thanks for having me on.
Greg.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Let's talk about Goodnight Gallery for a second.
Okay.
Because it's good that we're following them for two reasons. One is that Aziza is working with us in the Future Boston Alliance, and she's doing she's part of our accelerator program, so we're helping her with her business. And two is that our first Karma Loop office was in the Piano Factory.
Was it?
Yep.
I didn't know that. And that is an artistic building anyhow.
Yeah, I mean, in fact, we had a warehouse in the part of the building that's a theater, right? And so so we just rented from the landlord. We're like, all right, cool, it's a good space, whatever. So then it turned out that I started becoming friends with the artists in the building, and they were like, that's our theater space. They took it away. The building's not supposed to be using that for your business and stuff. And so I think the landlord was surprised because I was like, look, I don't want to be in here if this is promised to these artists. I mean, it's hard enough to find theater space in Boston. So we actually teamed up with them and left. Like, we kept my office there, but we took our warehouse out and returned the theater to the artists there. So we're always there to help. I hear the gallery is expiring in a year, so call me up. We'll see what we can do.
Well, okay, we'll make that work out. So, Greg, I know you.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people know you. But what do you want the people to know about you?
Well, I mean, I think, there's a lot. I like to talk, so that'd be a 3-hour live special, But I mean, I think that, obviously we have had a lot of success. Karma Loop, and but I'm a Boston kid at heart. I grew up in Jamaica Plain, and I love the city. And I think that, one of the things that always annoys me is there's a lot of misunderstandings about who our audience is, and it's there's a lot of people who judge the kids, whether it's because there's like hip hop or electronic music or certain styles, the way they dress. But at the end of the day, I think the group of kids that I sell clothing to, and by kids I mean 20s. It's mostly, our average age is about 23, are people who are the future leaders of America, and they're really smart, interesting people. I just spoke at Bunker Hill Community College last week, and there was tons of our customers there, but they all, like this brand right here, one of the kids gave me his sweatshirt, so I'm rocking it today.
That's cool.
It's a local Boston brand, but all of our audience doesn't just buy the clothes, they're also part of this movement where they're entrepreneurs, and they're artists, and they're DJs, and there are other people like that are really out there doing stuff. So to me, that's what's exciting.
Yeah, and just to highlight Karma Loop, let's talk about Karma Loop. What is Karma Loop?
So for the people who don't know Karma Loop, so I founded it, 12 years ago in my parents' basement, and basically it's a clothing boutique. We sell clothing online, but it really is much more than that, in that, yes, we sell clothing, but it's really part of a social movement, part of a culture. And we have 6 websites. We have an online video platform called Karma Loop TV, and we basically have created this sort of what we like to think of as a hybrid of media and commerce, and we're doing very well. I mean, we're getting close to $200 million in revenue, and it all started here. We've kept it here, even though it's a fashion business, and we're excited about a lot of the stuff that's going on in Boston. When
did you know you wanted to move into that field? What pushed you? What inspired you?
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because a lot of times people ask me, like, oh, did you always have such a passion for for selling clothes? And the answer is, I never thought I would ever sell clothes. My dad's a scientist. My mom was a Boston public school teacher, then an urban planner. So I don't come from a background of a business background, although my dad did get, later on in life, got involved in some business stuff. But the fact is that, to me, I always liked the clothing myself and what the clothing represented, the music, the fashion, art, lifestyle, action sports, DJ culture, graffiti art, pop art, stuff like that. So to me, it was really about creating this sort of holistic way of selling clothing. The clothing was just one piece of it. But I mean, really, the way it started out was, it was like any kid who has an eBay store or some startup store. I mean, I was living at home with my parents. The first warehouse, even before the piano factory, was my parents' basement. I was working for the city at the time. I worked hard all day at the city, but I had a ton of energy at that time. I was 25, 26. Come home, and I pack up the orders at night with my wife. I take the orders. At that time, we had like 4 orders. It was like a celebration. You got to pop the cork for that one. But now we do 4 orders. I mean, every minute we're doing 100 orders, something like that. And I take the orders with me on the Orange Line, drop them off in Post Office Square, mail a few boxes, going to work, and I did that for a while. So, it wasn't something that was like, I knew I was going to be a business person, but I think I always thought like an entrepreneur, meaning that I never liked to just accept things as the way they are. I always thought there was a way to do things better. I always had a lot of drive, and a lot of people, my friends and stuff, always knew me as someone who wasn't afraid to try things, to take risks and stuff. I think those are very important aspects of, if you want, any of the kids who are watching at home right now. I think if you want to be an entrepreneur, there's a couple things. You don't have to have the best education. You don't have to be the kid who got all A's in school. What you need to have is a really good idea, an idea that's different, right? So most of the time people come to me and they have ideas that look just like everything else. Have an idea that's different. 2 is then you have to have an unending fountain of positivity, because everyone's going to tell you your idea is terrible.
No, you're going to get a lot of rejection.
Right, so you got to be like, I'm ready to do this. The third thing is you got to be ready to pick yourself up and keep going. Just never giving up. And obviously I had some advantages other people didn't. I had, my dad invested some money in. I had friends and relatives. So it's not always, it was still an incredible challenge. I was out of business for 7 years. And that was a fraction of the money I needed. But I would say if you can go to a relative or a friend, see if you can get a little bit of startup money. If you can't, then you got to think about other ways. And there's lots of ways you can get free publicity and get your idea off the ground.
Let's talk about Future Boston Alliance.
Sure.
How did you start that?
So basically, the genesis of Future Boston was that, look, I'm here in Boston. I'm a native. I've lived here my whole life. I love the city. But I have now 260 employees in Boston. They come from all over the world, from Japan to Baltimore to Canada to you name it. And I was getting a lot of people coming and saying, you know what, I really like Boston a lot, but there's so many things that I don't like about it.
Absolutely.
So many things I want to see changed. And especially for, there's a lot of this, senior management staff are African American. They came from other cities. They were being told, like, be careful going to Boston.
Yeah.
It's, they had this, a lot of them have been pleasantly surprised. It wasn't what they thought. But so I'm thinking, like, well, we got this stigma about the city, about certain things that really hasn't been fixed enough. So there's 2 things, how other people view us and how we view ourselves. And so we wanted to try and talk about some of these issues that young people, that we feel that, from regulations and to a power structure that's controlled by a few people to, being able to have more fun and more events and more festivals and things going on in the city, creating more entrepreneurship, promoting Boston in a different way to the world. We thought all those things were really important. Instead of just being part of the problem and telling everyone to shut up when they keep complaining to me, I wanted to say, hey, maybe there's something here. And we know there is, because now we created Future Boston Alliance. We've literally had tens of thousands of people contact us. We have probably almost 6,000 people following us on Twitter with just word of mouth, website. And we're going to be doing a lot of stuff to help register young people to vote and to do other things in the city this year.
What are the events that assemble?
Okay, so you saw that we got the...
I've been at assemblies.
Yeah.
I've been at a few. I've
seen you there.
networked at
I've seen you there.
a couple of them as well.
So the idea for Assemble, with Aziza's there all the time, and
Logan,
Tremana,
close friends of
mine.
Derek,
from Green Street. So, I mean, Derek was just to jump back, was a perfect example of what Future Boston Alliance is trying to change. He created an idea that was really cool and interesting. He created this truck, and for us, it should have just been like, hey, this guy's competition. Why would Carmel even help him?
Yeah.
But to me, it's like I want the whole city to flourish, and it was one truck and one place. He created something new and interesting. Got national press. The city shut him down.
Yes.
Right.
Permit. They didn't have a permit for his business idea.
And
he was so advanced.
Right. They didn't want to help him.
Yeah.
Basically, they not only did they shut him down, then it didn't help that I was helping him too, but they told him that he should stay away from me. But at the end of the day, we need to change that. We need to change the animosity and try and get behind new ideas. But the question is assemble. So assemble is a night that we do at the Liberty Hotel. We were just named the best new night, best new night in the city by Boston Globe. The Metro had something in today about it. So the idea is that it's a little different. It's not just about partying, getting drunk, and going crazy. It's about getting artists, businesses, and then the Future Boston Alliance together. So we have the Sneaker Museum on. So we're trying to help raise money for them.
Rick?
Yeah. Those guys are amazing, right? They're creating a lot of people don't know Boston's the world capital of sneakers. Besides Nike, they're all here. Right? They have all in the Boston area. They all have their offices here. So, so we're trying to do things like that. And I think it's a fun way to have a good time, network, and bring together, there's not a lot of nights like that in Boston.
No.
When I travel around the country and I spend a lot of time in New York and stuff, it's like it's completely normal for me to go someplace and I don't even think about the fact there's all different races, all different types of people. It's there. It's like we're all connected by the clothes we wear and the ideas that we share. In Boston, you just don't find that. Everything's so segregated. I don't just mean by race. I mean by the type of music. And
it's cliquey.
It's very cliquey. And it's also because it's so hard to get a new license. You don't open any place new, right? So the same places are there for 25 years. They attract a certain kind of following, and that's it, right?
Yeah.
So we wanted to break through that, and I think Assemble's been very, very effective at it.
I needed to highlight Malia. She's awesome
Yep.
as a person, but her work, her grind, her efforts speak beyond that. You picked the perfect candidate. To speak on Carmel Loop as well too, Jenny, she's awesome, not online, not just the work she does, but even in person.
Yeah, Jenny's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, I think, when it comes back to the idea that people misunderstand or make judgments about clothing or fashion, whatever, we cultivate at Carmel Loop. Everyone's got to have a good, the name of the business is Carmel Loop. Everyone, we always, even though it's like, all right, they've got this cool, interesting clothing, one of the things I remind our staff all the time is like, look, we're not better than anyone else. Part of being cool and having this type of clothing is that we want it to be accessible to other people. And so everyone in the staff is like, the one thing that I won't tolerate is people yelling or being, treating each other badly or not being positive. So I think you can see if you've met anyone from Carmel Loop, it's the type of people we have are real self-starters and people want to do stuff. And as far as Malia, Malia is amazing. I actually am almost embarrassed because you had to be the one to bring her up because
She was on the show.
Yeah. She was on the show, and she basically, when you say maybe Future Boston was my idea, but she birthed the whole thing, and she's built it, to what it is today. And she's got an incredible background, right? So she started Mass Vote, right? Because the city wouldn't let her have a hip hop concert back then, and that was kind of, she wanted to get young people out engaged in the voting process, maybe make some changes. And then, she's just, been involved in so much nonprofit work. She's just an incredibly smart woman, and I'm really lucky to have her there.
Because of Malia, I knew who Mel King was,
Yeah.
but because of her relationship with Mel King, I have him for my season finale. So, that's how awesome she is outside her element because she stays in other people's elements.
Well, I'll tell you the thing about, I totally agree with you.
ahead.
The thing about, you mentioned Mel King, and sorry to cut you up, but I'm
Go
just
ahead,
excited
no.
about it. For Carmel TV, obviously we reach the world. We have millions of people all over the world, but I had the chance to, and people outside of Boston probably don't know who Mel King is.
Yeah.
And to me, growing up in Jamaica Plain and seeing him, break through so many barriers and do all this stuff, he's just such an incredible guy. Malia set up an interview for me with Mel King, which I just did 2 days ago.
Okay.
And it was supposed to be like 20 minutes, and we wound up talking for 2 hours. About a lot of the different things about he's very unhappy with the condition of the Boston public schools, and he has a lot to say about it. He is really trying to do stuff to help bridge the digital divide with poorer neighborhoods not having access to technology. I told him we'd donate a bunch of computers to the technology center. But the work that he does is, look, I get to have fun. Most of the time I'm making money and traveling around. This is a guy who every day gets up, every minute he spends his time trying to help other people and just do good by other people. And it's just such an inspiration. And you're going to love talking to him on the show.
Yeah, I love Brother Mel.
Yeah.
Well, Greg, fun. It goes by really quick. We're running out of time.
Yeah.
How do the people stay in contact with you?
Well, I assume you might have put my Twitter up, so it's at Selko, so @ SELKOE. And then you can also follow Carmel Loop at @Karmaloop. You guys should be able to spell that by now. And then the last but not least, follow us at Future Boston, which is Future Boston.
Any events, any codes you want to give away?
Right now we have 30% off on the site, so you're
Okay,
good.
so go online.
No codes are better than that. But we're gonna follow us next year as we do Assemble. I hope everyone who sees us will come out and have a good time.
Absolutely. Greg, it's been a pleasure. Thank you for being on my show.
I
appreciate your time. I love all the work that you're doing.
Thank you very much.
Let me know how I can help. I love Karmaloop TV. And
maybe we can do something there.
hey, I'm about that life.
Yeah,
So, well, you're out of rotation with LoudMindsTV. And up next, who do we have in the building? You're going to figure that out.
And by the
PSA.
way, I've known that guy since the next guest I've known since we were 12 years old.
Okay, yeah, he's covered out.
I mean, he's a little older than me, but I used to hang out with his brother all the time.
Thank you, Greg.
All right.
3, 2, 1. You're in rotation with LoudMindsTV. I always forget to ask my artists and my guests and everybody that's been on my show to tag the boombox. So I want to start doing that, but I've had like some cool guests. So yeah, sorry. But we have DJ Hustle Simmons in the building. He is the man, and I'm going to tell you why he's the man. Because he has the launch pad, and the launch pad is awesome. And matter of fact, I'm going to let him tell you about the launch pad. Hi, Hustle. Welcome.
What's happening, man?
It's blessed.
Happy holidays and all that.
Christmas.
Shout out to Greg. Like you said, we've known each other for a long time. And he used to rock with my little brother.
Yeah.
Well, still does. but,
Boston is just small like that, too. That's one of the best things about Boston.
Definitely.
And I like it that we're able to help each other out, like how you're helping me out right now.
Come on, man. You're helping me out.
Oh, man.
We're helping the city out.
We're
man.
helping the city out. That's what it really is.
And Greg does a great job at that as well with the whole Future Boston initiative. You know what I mean? I mean, I have a lot of respect for Greg as a businessman and as just a man in general. He does a lot for the city, and hopefully everyone out there in the viewing audience recognizes what he does and the opportunities he provides for the people in Boston.
Yeah, he's an awesome dude. I don't know anybody who works around Greg that doesn't love what they're doing. So like that's a
Well,
gravitation.
he always keeps, and he has always been a positive person growing up, and he always keeps a positive vibe around the Karmaloop office. And, so I think him personally, being the way that he is as a man, I think people absorb that, and that's one of the reasons I think he's very successful.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about you and your success. Who are you? You're DJ Hustle Simmons.
Yeah, definitely.
When did you start the game? When did you start DJing?
I started DJing probably about, I think it's like 12 years now. You know what I mean? I got my start. I went to college in South Carolina at the College of Charleston. I was down there on a baseball scholarship.
Okay.
And then my senior year, I just rolled up into a radio station and said, hey, I want to do an internship.
Where'd you intern?
WPAL, it was Rhythm 100.9. Station doesn't exist anymore in South Carolina, in Charleston.
South Carolina.
Yeah.
What did you do as an intern?
At first, I just sat around and watched. I never really had any aspirations of being on the radio. I really wanted to work in the promotion ends of things. So I figured the best place to go is to a radio station. I could meet the record execs as they come into the station and try to form some relationships. And one day someone called in sick and they asked me if I wanted to do it. So I did a little hour shift, made like $13 or something for it. And after the hour, I was hooked.
It's funny how people's disadvantages become your opportunities.
Yeah, definitely.
And I take advantage of those situations.
Definitely.
I love it when the ball drops because I can pick it up.
Yeah. So it was tough. My senior year in college, I had school, then we did baseball, and my first full-time shift was the overnight shift. So I worked midnight till 6, then went to school, and then had baseball practice for my senior year. So.
That must have been fun still, though. You were young.
Yeah, it was cool. I mean, I have the work ethic, hence the name Hustle Simmons, you know what I mean? So it was something I enjoyed. I enjoyed school. I enjoyed baseball. So,
That's cool. That's cool.
put them all together.
Wait, so why DJing over baseball? You're better at one than the other?
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't going to make pros or anything like that. You know what I'm saying? Maybe some minor league stuff, but that life's not that exciting. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. I just fell into the radio, and it worked. I got accepted down there, and that's where it all started. I still go down and do parties a couple times a year down there. So it's a lot of fun. I have a lot of respect for the people in Charleston because it is the birthplace of my career, man. And they really accepted me, and I just had a good time.
Is it Charlestown?
Charleston.
Oh, Charleston, excuse me.
Yeah.
Shout out to Charleston.
Yep, exactly.
So, okay, sorry, you threw me off. I got excited. Probably the hardest thing about my job is like listening and then like, oh yeah, I got to continue up because
Well, at least you didn't change shirts today. I've
Nah,
watched the show
did
before.
you see that?
And you switched shirts in between every
Okay,
set. And
we're gonna talk about that right now. I'm glad that you brought that up.
You know?
When I switch my shirts during the shows, people think I'm not live or there was a separate shows and everything. So I was told stop.
Of course they would.
They told me stop changing my clothes. I don't know. I was trying to distract the audience.
Maybe you watched too much pageants growing up. You know? You had the swimsuit on one time, and then you went with the gown. And, you know what I mean?
Come on, man. You talk to your guests like this on the launch pad?
Yeah, I talk to everybody like this.
Let's talk about the launch pad. What is the launch pad?
It's a show dedicated to local artists in the Boston area. Actually, I don't like to call them local artists. Up-and-coming artists in the Boston area. Mm-hmm. It airs every Sunday night from 10 to 12 on Jamn 94.5. You can stream it on the web at jammin945.com. You can also tune in on the iHeartRadio app, which is good for your phone or your tablet.
That's what I listen to now.
Or whatever it may be. So it's a show. My homie G-Spin started it 10 years ago, actually. So this is the 10th year. Yeah, G-Spin's in New York now. He's assistant program director at Power 105 out there. He's a homie, too. I grew up with G-Spin. Yeah. We both grew up in the same town, so we both known each other. So he started the show, which is great, man. I mean, I want to thank the station, Jammin, for actually having a show and having an outlet on a major commercial radio station for artists from the area, so we can expose their music and expose the artists and expose the the music scene that we have here in the city. Yeah, so, like I said, it goes down every Sunday night from 10 to 12. If people want to send music in, it's launchpad945@gmail.com. I check out every song, and I'll give feedback on the song if I'm not really feeling it, or I think there could be some additions or subtractions that might need to happen in the song. But I mean, honestly, as a man, it feels good to be able to do a show like that. There's nothing better than getting that tweet on Monday or that email on Monday on like, thanks for playing my song. Like, it feels good. And I'm glad and I'm honored to be able to display the hip hop that we have here in Boston. So it's a cool gig, man.
Yeah, and you're doing a great job, Hustle.
Thanks.
I've seen you at laced events. I see you at concerts, but not necessarily even just behind the stage. You interact with the people. People know who Hustle Simmons is.
I hope so. I try to work at that.
Well, I mean, you stand out too, not because you're like big and like huge, it's because the gravitational effect, because people are, okay, I need to see who this person is, and they come to you. And I think the difference between you and my experiences with some of these other DJs, and I'm not going to name any names, but you really not help people, but like you'll listen. And you give constructive criticism, and you don't pull a punch, but it's constructive. You know what I mean?
Well, I think that's what people need. I think, as we all know, a lot of people have a lot of yes men in their camp.
I hate those.
And I mean, it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? People roll how they roll, so I respect everybody on how they do things. But I think constructive criticism is good. And there's a lot of artists in Boston that take it well. There's some that don't take it well. But it's getting back to, being out. I think it's really important for me to be out in the community. And it's one of the things I fell in love with the radio, was to be able to go out and touch people and stuff like that. And, I still have that passion that I had that 1 hour shift, 12 years ago for the first time I touched the mic.
Yeah, you definitely are a hustler, Hustle Simmons. We're running out of time, so I got to make this short and sweet, and I want to get it all out. What was one of your highlights in your career?
Probably early in my career. I was really always looked for that next artist when I was in South Carolina, and just one of them happened to be T.I. And so I was really there from the beginning of T.I.'s career when he was the guy running around passing out CDs and stuff. So we've had a great relationship for the 12 years that he's been doing his thing. And I think, anytime I can talk to an artist or help an artist is always, a good time for me.
Yeah, man. That's awesome. I'm a T.I. fan, too. Didn't his album just drop recently?
Yeah. Trouble Man, Heavy in the Head. It's out there right now.
Yeah. I got to pick that up. I'm usually on it, but I'm slacking.
This Sunday, I'm dropping a bunch of album tracks off that.
Yo, you drop full albums on your show.
Yeah.
You've done that. There's been some songs, I'm not going to lie to you, I can't remember the last one, but I've known, I'm like, oh my God.
The last one I think was Kendrick.
Was it Kendrick?
Yeah.
I loved Kendrick's mixtape, Section 80.
Okay.
Kendrick Lamar.
Well, I like to play full albums of, highly anticipated albums, and, I considered Kendrick to be one of those. And I think it's cool to give people a preview of the album, let them hear the thing before they drop their money on it.
Yeah, man. Hustle, how can the people stay in contact with you? Where they can find you?
Everywhere. Twitter, it's at DJ Hustle Simmons. It's somewhere across the bottom of the screen somewhere. Feel free to call me, text me, 617-908-8382.
The phone's is about to ring.
Yeah, it's all good. Hit me up on Facebook. It's Hustle Simmons. You know, I'm down to do whatever, mixtapes, parties, shows.
Launchpad every Sunday.
Yep, launchpad945@gmail.com is the email address to send your tracks in.
Hustle, you're the man. Thank you.
Nah, man.
Nah, man,
Thank
you're
you.
the man.
Thank
I
you.
appreciate you.
I appreciate it, man. I also want to send a shout out to
Yeah.
everybody that supports the Launchpad, everybody that supports the Boston hip hop, the New England hip hop movement. And, you know, there's a lot of fans out there that like to hear the music from our area. And like I said, man, it's a blessing to be able to have that show on Sunday night and you know, present our music the way our city should have its music presented.
And you just said my favorite word, blessed. I scream that word every day. So it's been a blessing to have you here, and what you're doing is a blessing. So thank you, Hustle. I salute you.
Appreciate it. Shout out to everyone back in the control room, all the camera people. You know, it's definitely a good vibe around here, man.
Yeah, man. I love my crew. They're goofy. They're silly, but
They
we
do
work
their
well
thing, man.
together.
Real professional. Very impressed.
Thank you. You're out of rotation. We'll catch you back in 5, 4, 3, 2. You're back? Oh, cool. You're now rotation with LoudMindsTV. So we actually still have Hustle in the building. I didn't realize we were running out of time, so we're gonna just bother Hustle for like the last couple minutes of the show.
It's definitely not a bother. Come on.
We're not gonna bother. All right, cool. So, Hustle, what do you like to do on a normal day in Boston? You're not working. You feed
Well, in the
up.
winter it's a little tough. In the summer I'm a big golfer.
Oh, you golf.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's definitely another passion of mine.
All right.
I like to get that on. But you know, I like to go check out some of the shows that are put on throughout the city. I like to support, you know, the people that support the Boston hip hop scene, man. Outside of that, it's pretty, you know, if I'm not doing a DJ gig at a club, it's, you know,
It's really lax.
I like to hang out. I mean, and you know, going through all the music that comes in for the Launchpad, as well as all the music that comes in from my other shows on Jamn, you know, it's pretty time consuming to listen to, you know, a bunch of songs. You know, you got to download them and stuff like that. I'm not complaining, but you know, it does take some time.
It does.
Yeah.
How difficult is it to be yourself and then still be DJ Hustle Simmons? Like, do you ever feel like, oh, I have to, like, this is my private life and this is my public identity?
No, man, because I'm the same dude all the way through. You know what I'm saying? The way I am at home is the same way I am at the radio, so there's no switch I turn on. I'm not trying to be somebody else. I'm not an actor. I'm a DJ. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's why people have gravitated to me throughout my career, and why my career has lasted as long as it has, is because, you know, I just feel like you need to just, you know, be humble, be who you are, be appreciative of what you have.
What are some of the things you want to see in Boston hip-hop, or just Boston music in general?
I mean, I want to see someone blow, just like everybody else does.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And hopefully the Launchpad will help somebody, you know, achieve their goals at the music scene. But you know, maybe a little more unity in the city would be nice. But, you know, everybody's going to do what they're going to do. And I think, you know, collectively we have a lot of good talent here in the city, you know, so I'm proud of that. But I mean, I think unity is the biggest thing, definitely. You know, there's a lot of venues that do shows, so shout out to the promoters that make that happen and give people from the area a chance to get on stage and rock.
Yeah, like Mark Maron is one of those individuals.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, he was the first guest on my show.
Okay.
So I was really pulling for him to come up so we could close it out with Mark. But
yeah, he does several events around the city, man. Definitely have a lot of respect for Mark.
Mark Maron at church over there, Church Boston. Okay, so hip hop music, Boston. What do you want to do? Like,
as far as?
So like, say for instance, you could wake up tomorrow and you could change something in your life, whether it be in your career or personal. You could wake up tomorrow, what would you do? What would be different?
Wow.
I know.
I don't think much would be different, to be honest with you, man. I feel like I give everything I have to the opportunities that are provided to me. And, you know, I do the best that I possibly can. So I don't really know if there's much to change, to be honest with you.
I actually like that answer. That means you've come to a place of, I won't use the word comfortable, but you like where you are.
Yeah, I'm definitely not comfortable because, I mean, anything can change at any point in time, you know what I mean? So I think it's always important, no matter what opportunities in your life that are presented to you, is take them head on and give it 100% and, you know, do what you have to do to make sure you continue to be able to do what you want to do would be the best way.
What's been a favorite concert experience?
A favorite concert experience?
Yeah. Could be new or old.
Recently, I spun at the 2 Chainz show at the House of Blues.
House of Blues.
I mean, that's the last one in the city. It was crazy out there.
I don't think we have anything else for the rest of the year right now.
I know the Roots are coming next year, so that show's
that's
going to be
next
really
year.
dope. Yeah, there's not much for the rest of the year.
Yeah.
But those concerts are good. Of course, the station concerts are always good. Monster Jam and Summer Jam.
Yeah.
You know, bring a ton of artists to the city, which is fun.
Those always pack up. Those are always fun shows. Geez, you just made me think of something else. Monster Jam, Summer Jam. We met at Foundation Lounge.
Yep.
I don't even know what's there anymore. Yeah, but that was the first time I met you, and then like, it's really
a while ago.
Yeah, I think I was whatever. I was younger then. But for me, it was to take the voice off the radio and then place it with the man.
Yeah.
And you were cooler in person than you are on radio.
Well, thank you. Appreciate it.
I was surprised because usually I feel like people are arrogant in life and everything. You're just really a people person. Like, and not to say like, oh, I'm friendly and people person, but like you socially interactive.
Well, you got to realize, man, the way I look at it is being on the radio and being a DJ, you sort of have to be the mayor. You know what I'm saying? So it doesn't make sense for me to have people not like me. It makes sense for me to have people that do like me, because without the support of the listeners and the community, then I'm really nothing. You know what I mean? It doesn't have anything to do with me. It has everything to do with everybody else in the city. You know, you need to get accepted. You need to be cool with people. I love to meet people, you know what I'm saying? Whether I'm on the radio or I'm not, I still love to meet people and hear about people and talk to people, you know?
Why don't enough artists think like you or think like that?
I mean, I don't think it has to do with being an artist or not.
Okay.
I think it just has to do with the person that you are. You know what I mean?
I agree completely. At least within my TV show, I mean, it's not hard to tell I have an ego, but like I've transformed that because I realize if you're able to make these other individuals or give them their recognition, you kind of look better. But the whole point is it's not really about you. It's about you. We could look back at all the negative things and complain all day. It's much harder to find the positive things in people and highlight those things because we don't look to those things really.
Yeah, I don't deal with the negativity on the show or in my life as much as possible. Like on the show, I don't play any diss records and stuff like that because I try to keep it positive, you know what I mean? And I just think that's what's needed, you know, in the hip hop scene here. And I think there are a lot of people that do get down with the other artists in the city, and it's always nice to get a record in my inbox that is with people from different areas on the same track. For example, a nice record that I'm playing now is a record from Dutch Rebel.
Dutch?
Yeah, featuring Capital J from the City Slickers.
Yep.
And my man Easy Money from out in Haverhill.
Yeah.
So it's a nice little collab track with people from different areas. So those are the songs that I like to see.
Yeah.
You know?
I actually just spoke to the City Slickers yesterday. They were underground hip hop.
Okay.
They were in the store, and I was trying to get Aaron for one of my upcoming shows, and we ended up chopping it up. I did catch their interview. Shout out to Malcolm, 88.9 WERS. And I just love that, when it's just really that coming together. I love the FNN, Famous Nobodies crowd. Dutch is probably one of the most prominent females in, I think, Boston hip hop, and I really like Dutch's work. I'm sorry, I'm just getting excited. I should be talking about you, but do you have any upcoming shows, any events?
New Year's Eve, I'm going to be at a spot called Hibachi out in Manchester, New Hampshire.
Okay, Hibachi.
Yeah, this coming Saturday, I'll be at the Bar Room, which is downtown Boston. Last night, I was out in Lowell. You know,
What's in Lowell?
Place called Brian Ivy Hall. I do Thursday nights out there.
Cool.
It's a little 18-plus night. You know.
Those sell. Kids don't know where to, like, geez, I wish Greg was here and I still could have brought that up. But that 18 crowd, they're buzzing. They need somewhere to go. They don't have
Boston, it's against the law now. So, I mean, yeah, there's no 18-plus in Boston. It's been about 2-3 years now.
See, I thought it was just like the liquor license thing, or I didn't know. See, there you go. Shout out to Greg for that. But yeah, exactly. So perfect example, like the Chef Boys. They hit me up today too, and I'm sorry, D.
Yeah, I played Big D's track. He got a new track called Ordinary, which is pretty dope.
Yeah.
He gets a lot of good response.
He does.
On that.
He brings the crowd out. They're like a whole bunch of young kids, and they're crazy, and they have fun. Like, and I just look
I think
at
there's
them.
a good movement right now with the younger hip hop artists in the city. You know, there's a kid named Avenue.
Yeah, love Av.
Yeah, Avenue's good. You know, Malfi's out there doing his thing.
Yeah.
So it's nice to see the younger cats, you know, on the rise and stuff like that. You know, I mean, we have plenty of veterans in the city, which I love to support as well. But it's nice to see, you know, some of the young kids, because like you said, they do they're part of that new age.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, they do have followings, and I think that's what it's all about. It's not about, getting it played on the radio all the time. I mean, the movement, there's a lot of spokes that make a wheel go round.
And that's what it is. This wheel has round, and we're out of time again.
Okay.
So, Hustle, thank you
So
for
I
being in
get
the
to say
building.
goodbye again.
Now we get to say goodbye again. We're really out of rotation.
Happy
with
holidays
LoudMinds
out there
TV.
to everybody, though, too.
Happy holidays, Christmas, whatever you celebrate. We don't discriminate. And this is my last show, but you have to stay tuned for my season finale, January 4th. And I'm not even going to tell you. You're just going to have to figure out who I have in the building. Hustle, I need you to sign this.
Yeah, that's cool. We can make that happen.
I don't even know what they did with the marker, whatever.
We'll find it.
We're going to find it. But
We'll definitely find it.
you're out of rotation with Loud Minds TV. It's been a blessing. I'll see you next year. Peace out.
It is.
Yeah.